Things were moving along much quicker in court today as attorneys work to whittle down that jury pool of 40. They need the final 6 who will decide whether it was self-defense when George Zimmerman pulled the trigger and shot and killed Trayvon Martin. Not only is this the first time all of the potential jurors have been in the courtroom together, it is also the first time that we have seen both George Zimmerman's mother and father seen here in court. We saw his father last year during those bond hearings. Their family has received all kinds of threats since the shooting, but George's brother tells us they really felt that they needed to be there today to support George. And so that was what they were saying. That was what the older brother was saying. It has been quite a day in court today, and helping us to keep up with all of this, we have News 13's Kelly Cook, who is in Sanford. We also have our legal analyst, Jaya Balani, with NeJame Law, giving us the legal analysis on that. And it was quite interesting, ladies, talking about P67, juror P67, who'd asked really for a private audience because he had quite a few concerns, Kelly.
Well, look, it's tough, Jackie. This is not easy. We do this every day for a living, being in front of the television and knowing what it's like to be up there in the courtroom. However, for someone else coming in, it can be difficult, and that certainly was the case for P67, who wrote a letter to the judge yesterday asking that he could be removed from this case and saying that this might be a conflict if he served on this jury, speaking about it was an inconvenience, wanted to spend time with his family. After 30 days, he said his job would not pay for it anymore. However, we do know now the trial will last anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, so he should be in the clear for that. And also concerned about what they were saying about him on the internet, about his ethnic makeup and the fact that he was from Mexico but is now a U.S. citizen. So he wrote this letter asking that he be removed, and actually during the first line of questioning, Jackie, we heard P67 under the limelight of the cameras asking for a little privacy. Let's take a listen.
Could you tell me again why we cannot do this in private?
You want to do this in private?
If there's a way.
I'm sorry.
If there's a way that we can do this in private?
Yeah, we can try to ask the court, but this kind of stuff, unfortunately, the media is allowed to be present.
Yeah, that was the number one that I discovered, you know, but
okay.
For jury selection process, it has to be in open court, open to the public. Mr. Zimmerman has a right to be there. The attorneys have a right to be there. So even if I were, when you say in private, it would just be me removing the other jury members. I cannot and will not clear the courtroom, and I can't take you in the back to do that.
That again was P67, which is much different than what we heard about this potential juror when he first was questioned during round 1, the pre-publicity stage of questioning in the jury selection process. He was actually pretty excited about serving. He said he thought it was his civic duty in a way to give back to his country, but obviously maybe feeling a little differently after learning a little bit more about all this. Let's bring in News 13 legal analyst Jaya Balani, who is standing by right now. And Jaya, just your thoughts, or final thoughts there about what you thought about P67's request.
It almost seems like he's at the point now where I think he's learning a little bit more about what the sequestration is going to do, the time away from his family, how limited it's going to be, and it is going to be a strain, this trial. So I think now I think it's setting in, saying, okay, now it's going to be a little tough, it's going to be inconvenient, not going to be able to see my kids and my wife, not working, while he's getting paid for the first 30 days, where there was other jurors before weren't getting paid at all. So he at least has had a little more benefit to get paid for the first 30 days. So it's now it comes down to a little more of an inconvenience now, and I don't think the judge is going to excuse him for that.
All right, just a quick backdrop of these potential jurors. We're down to 40. It's broken down to 24 women, 16 men, which these attorneys have to decide who will make up the 6. Jaya, also in that courtroom today, we saw for the first time, as Jackie Brockington mentioned, the parents for George Zimmerman. George Zimmerman as well as Sylvia Zimmerman making their appearance have not been there during jury selection, as well as George Zimmerman's sister was in there as well. So we did get a statement there from Robert Zimmerman, the older brother from George Zimmerman, who had a statement that he gave to our very own News 13's Beth Briswell regarding his family being in court today. This is what they had to say. They said, despite safety considerations, the time was right to do what they could to visibly advocate for George's innocence. Our parents have avoided showing their face on camera because of numerous death threats directed at our entire family. Our parents have served as primary caretakers for our grandmother Christina for years. Alzheimer's disease has left her requiring round-the-clock care and supervision. Going forward, security and other concerns are paramount, and our periodic absence from court should not be misinterpreted as a withdrawal of support. Our position as a family has been clear and consistent since the night George was attacked. We are all sympathetic to the tragic reality of outliving a son or daughter. However, George acted in self-defense. Self-defense should not be criminalized, and we stand by George because he told the truth. That being Robert Zimmerman Jr., the brother of George Zimmerman there. Let's bring in a News 13 analyst, George Zimmerman, News 13 legal analyst, for more about what you think about that statement.
You know, I think it's a great statement. It shows that the family is behind him, which there was no question that the family wasn't behind him. It's a shame that the parents, it could be even questioned they weren't supporting him because they're trying to take care of a family member. It's also a shame that there's people who are doing death threats against the parents for this case. The family's just trying to support their mother and support their son. Clearly, they're torn between both aspects of it, but they are there today. They were there to show their support, and I guarantee you will see more of them in the courtroom as often as they can be there.
All right, thank you very much, Jai. And just to clarify, that was Robert Zimmerman Sr., the older brother of George. Thank you very much. All right, there will be much more. They're going to be bringing back those potential jurors at 9 a.m. in the morning. Jackie, back to you.